How's it going, everybody? I'm Brooks,
I'm Joe.
and this is another episode of Cantina Reviews.
Today we are ranking all 10 Star Wars movies, worst to best.
It's weird, I feel like we just did this, and here we are again.
What's really weird is we ranked them not that long ago, and there are two more now. We missed The Last Jedi. When we did our ranking was before The Last Jedi. So.
Damn.
Yeah. So might as well go back and do it again.
Maybe we should just wait every 2 movies.
Maybe, yeah.
Every 2 movies.
So yeah, we'll get right into it. Worst to best.
We'll hop right in.
Our lists differ, so we will give them both.
So we will have differing lists.
Yes.
So number 1.
We're going worst to best.
Worst to best.
Number 10.
So number 10 would definitely be Phantom Menace for me.
Yeah, and mine is Attack of the Clones.
Okay.
For me, I just always felt like not much happened in Attack of the Clones.
Mm-hmm.
And all I really like about it is like the Coliseum thing, the fight with the monsters, and like when Obi-Wan fights Jango Fett.
Got it.
And then everything else to me was like fairly boring.
Okay, I felt the same way with Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
I think it's because when I watched it, like, I was, like, younger.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think when I first saw it, it was probably, like, 7, 8,
Yeah.
somewhere in that. And I just hated it. Because it was so boring. Like, it's the reason why we say it wasn't good was because of all that political crap that, like, no one would really care to understand, or if you were a younger kid, truly understand.
Right.
So I think that was why I didn't like it, was because I didn't understand it. And from that day forward, it has been the worst Star Wars movie in my mind.
I'll build off of that to go into my number 9, which is Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, even as a child, I remember being bored.
Yeah.
It's not just like I grew up... Because there's, like, these people now that are like, well, I grew up with the prequels, so I like them. No, like, literally, I remember as a kid being bored.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like, cool Darth Maul stuff, whatever. The ending is great. The music is great at the end. But, like, I remember that whole part. And when I rewatched it, like, fairly recently, I was astounded how long it is. When they do get back to Coruscant, before they go back to Naboo, there's this big, long section where literally nothing happens.
Yeah.
And I remember, as a kid, being bored out of my mind.
Mm-hmm. That's how I kind of felt with Revenge of the Sith, which is my number 9. Nothing happens until the end. Like, or at least from what I can remember, it's like the beginning, like you start out with the battle and everything, it's kind of cool. And then I feel like just the rest of the movie, you just watch him become an asshole. And then in the end, it finally happens, and then you have some actual character, character moments happening.
Right.
But it just was not something that I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah, I have Revenge of the Sith at 8. I think, like, in my mind, that one feels like the most Star Wars-y of the prequels for some reason.
Yeah.
Whether that be because there's, like, familiar stuff tying it together at the end, or, like, I always, like, remember, like, the opening space battle is pretty interesting.
Yeah. Starts out with...
But, I mean, again, like, it suffers from a lot of, like, really bad, clunky dialogue and, like, cheesy dialogue. Samuel L. Jackson saying twice in the movie, I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi.
We didn't hear the first time. How about you say it again? Number 8 for me, I think, like, I have to go with my gut.
Yeah.
Despite what my head says. And it was Han Solo.
Ah.
Just because, like, I liked it for what it was, but then when I look at it compared to the rest, like, story-wise, everything like that, it's like, yeah, we saw Han Solo, like, I guess, be Han Solo.
Right.
But it's like, up until the end of when it's like, she's actually working with Darth Maul, and the people that have been chasing them are now, like, they're friends with them. It's just like, I didn't think a lot happened.
Yeah.
In my opinion. They were just like, oh, it's a good movie to watch. But then I think about all the other ones, and I'm like, I feel like nothing really happened.
Yeah.
Which, it was just about Han Solo. It was a story, How much did I really think was going to happen? I don't know.
You're right.
But I just felt like, I was like, yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I don't think any of these are bad, except for me, Phantom Menace I think was terrible.
Yeah.
But the rest, like, I can watch and I'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like some I prefer. That's what this list is. Some I prefer more to watch than others.
My number 7, and yeah, I'll just do 7 and 6 because I'm so, like, I'm not totally sure yet. But I have 7, I have Rogue One, and 6, I have Solo.
Okay.
And my reasoning is, I think Rogue One is visually fantastic. Lots of great action scenes. And then I thought Solo, while not as visually stunning, because it's kind of like murky and grimy looking, had better characters. So like that's like the tipping thing for me. I feel like for me, like when I can get more invested in the characters, I probably enjoy the movie more. But I'm not totally sure on this one.
Right.
And that could definitely switch over time. Because I've seen Rogue One more than Solo. I'd have to see Solo probably a few more times to really know.
But to really create or form your decision.
Yeah.
My number 7 was Attack of the Clones. Just because for me at that time, how old are we? Like 10,
11-ish, I guess?
Somewhere in that way.
Yeah.
Someone's going to say some crap.
You were
actually 13.
I have your birth certificates here somehow.
And for me as a kid, Attack of the Clones was great just because there was action.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there was just a lot of action, like with the Coliseum battle and the Geonosis battle, and then him going to Camino and Jango Fett kind of being throughout the beginning and whatnot.
Right.
For me, I just liked it a lot better than the other ones because there was a lot of action in it.
Yeah.
And it was just visually appealing to me.
Right. Yeah, that was when they first went into the mostly CGI stuff.
Yeah.
Which is either... For me, like, The Phantom Menace got that little bit of a push because, like, it does look more practical at times. But yeah.
Yeah, I think at that age for us, like, CGI was, like, the big thing at that point.
Right.
So it was like, oh my god, look how cool that looks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look how many clones there are.
If you want to do your 6th.
My 6th, Joseph, was Force Awakens. Just middle of the pack. Once again, didn't think it was the best movie in the world, but it definitely wasn't the worst.
Yeah.
I think it was good just because it did start off the whole new thing that we have.
Yeah.
So I don't think, for me, I don't think Force Awakens is really going to move ever.
Yeah.
I think for me it's just going to be always in the middle of the pack, just because I've seen it a lot of times to kind of understand that, like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, you can only really take it as it began the rest. You know, it's just that first movie.
Right.
Where you had good character development, good storyline, everything like that, but it wasn't like oh my god type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My number 5 is The Last Jedi. Which...
That is my number 5 as well.
Oh, perfect.
Oh my god.
Perfect.
2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah. My thing with The Last Jedi is there's parts of it that I absolutely love. I love the stuff with Luke. I know people don't like it. I think it's great. I think, like, he was a troubled character throughout, and I thought he had a great redemption at the end. And, like, I'm totally on board with, like, I actually think they got Luke right. Because, like, he threw down the lightsaber to defeat Vader in Return of the Jedi.
Right.
So here it makes sense for him. He's gonna, stop a whole army, not with brute force, but with the power of the Force.
Yeah.
So he uses the Force to just totally stop the First Order in their tracks.
Right.
And everyone gets away because of it. I just thought that was such a cool redemption. Then there's stuff in it that I thought was, like, time-consuming. I thought having so many lead stories made it feel really long.
Yeah.
Like, because you have, like, Rey, Kylo, Poe, and Finn. All on different journeys.
Quests.
And while, like, Rey and Kylo eventually come together, but they split off again anyway. But, like, I thought, like, Poe should have been with Finn, and it would have just converged 2 storylines.
It would have condensed it more, and it would have been more followable.
Right,
I guess is what you say.
So I think that's what hurt for me a little bit. I'm not as, like, the casino stuff doesn't, like, really bother me.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a fact that, like, you have 4 main storylines going on at once, and that's a lot to do.
I think that's why I kind of put it middle of the pack too.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because, like, I really didn't like it. And I know you did like it, and we both put it at 5.
It's weird that it's at 5 for both of us. I'm surprised.
But, like, for completely different, not completely different reasons.
Yeah.
But, like, just from different opinions.
Right.
But yeah, for me, I would just have to agree to I feel like things are time consuming. There were definitely parts that were drawn out, like just the beginning with the dreadnought. Like, okay, let's stop the jokes here. Right? Let's get into it. You know. The 4 storylines thing definitely chopped it up a lot for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we're here. But I did like certain parts of it. Like, I did like when they were on the salt place.
Oh, yeah.
What was that place called?
Crate.
I liked when they were on Crate for that reason, too, with Luke and everything.
Yeah.
I just felt like the movie got way better once everything came back together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, once everybody came back together, like, it was like, I wish this was the whole movie.
Right, I still, like, it really just, like, kicks into gear with that throne room scene.
Yeah.
Which is just fantastic.
That's when everything starts for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wish we didn't have the beginning of the movie.
In that sense, like it feels kind of prequel-y to me at times because it is very dragged out.
Yeah, dragged out, choppy. It's like, okay, we're with Anakin and Obi-Wan, then we're back with Yoda, and then we're with Mace Windu, then we're with the clones. You know what I mean?
Right.
And especially when they do split up, and it's like Obi-Wan and Anakin and Padme.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I thought it was good, but at the same time, it's more of a bad, like, not a bad movie, but it drops in my mind more than it is put up in my mind.
My number 4 is Return of the Jedi.
Same.
Wow.
Whoa. Killing it here.
So for me, I'd say like the reason it's my least favorite of the original trilogy, even though like we're in territory where I love these movies, I love Return of the Jedi. I just think like the other ones have an edge because I feel like Han Solo didn't have a lot to do in this movie. I feel like we've talked about this in our throwback review. The Jabba's palace thing is very long in the beginning.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. The Ewok thing. I don't hate the Ewoks. I like the fighting with the Ewoks. Like I think that's kind of fun. I like the idea that like these little creatures defeat the Empire.
Yeah.
Because it kind of just like it's always been the case with the Empire. Like it makes sense. Like people are like, you know, how could these little bears, these little teddy bears defeat the Empire? But the thing with the Empire is they've always been so overconfident that they overlook simple things.
Right.
Like a hole in the Death Star. Like little teddy bears, you know?
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense. It's like their hubris is their downfall.
Right.
So like that never bothered me, but like the leading up to it is really long, kind of drawn out. So, well, I still love the movie, especially because the confrontation between Luke and Vader is like some of my favorite moments in movie history, where Luke is about to turn to the dark side and he stops himself. So, so that saves it pretty much.
Yeah, I think I would just say pretty much the same exact thing. Yeah. Just parts of it were drawn out.
Yeah.
But in the end, I feel like the Endor scene definitely, or that whole last part, same thing with The Last Jedi for me.
Yeah.
It's like the beginning was just very drawn out, very slow, very just leading up to.
Yeah.
And then the last part of it, it's like when they were in Endor, the Death Star, like, great finale.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt exactly with The Last Jedi. But now I think I just put it above it because it is one of the originals and I've seen it way more.
Yeah.
So that's why I did
that. My number 3 is actually The Force Awakens. I've watched it again a whole bunch of times. I like the excitement of getting back to like the nitty gritty of an original feeling Star Wars film. You know, obviously it's very similar to A New Hope. It's also very similar to some of the others in different aspects. I feel like they did a really great job of getting you to like Rey.
Yeah.
You spent some like time with her on Jakku, and you're kind of rooting for her. I like Kylo Ren as a villain a lot. I thought he was like what they wanted Anakin to be, but better.
Right.
He like pulled off the kind of just angry, bratty thing better than Anakin did in the prequels.
Right. Yeah.
And the J.J. Abrams kind of mythos of it. And it's up to fans whether you think The Last Jedi delivered or not. But the setup of it is very exciting. The sort of mystery of it.
Yeah. My number 3 is A New Hope. Kind of like, you know, because it is one of those start off of the trilogy movies, even though Phantom Menace is dead last on my list. But it's just because you had like good characters, good character development, good like world setting. Like it was just a very good setup movie. Where that's why Force Awakens is a little further down on my list because it was just like A New Hope. There really wasn't a lot new to it, which once again I don't really know what I thought would have been new because it is the lead off to the trilogy.
Right.
But New Hope is more up on the list because it started at all. Yeah. And that's kind of where you start your infatuation with Star Wars because of that first one. It's like, wow.
Right.
You know. Number 2 for me was Rogue One. I just liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I just thought all around just a good story, a good villain, good characters, good progression. The movie kept moving. There wasn't really like, for me at least, any like dead spots. There were slower scenes, but it wasn't for long.
Yeah.
I feel like just things weren't really drawn out, and I loved the Scarif battle. Like I just liked all of the way it looked, the way it played out. I just thought it was a really good movie overall.
It's like visually super impressive. Krennic was a really good villain. I did like him a lot.
They brought back what's his face?
Tarkin.
And Leia too. It was just very well done CGI.
Yeah, weirdly. That Tarkin thing, I was like, I'm pretty sure he's not alive.
Yeah, I think he's dead.
Yeah.
Don't quote me.
My number 2 is A New Hope. That, as a kid, that was probably my least favorite of the original 3. And just as I've grown with it and grown older with it, I just love it so much. Just a really fun adventure movie.
Yeah.
So many like iconic moments.
Mm-hmm.
Dressing as the stormtroopers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the whole Death Star scene is just great. Ending with the climactic Obi-Wan being killed by Vader. You introduce Vader, one of the greatest movie villains of all time.
Yeah.
You really get invested in Luke's journey. You kind of see the development of him and Han and Leia over the course of the movie.
Right.
And yeah, the Death Star run at the end, classic.
Yeah, and like you were saying, like as time went on and you watched it as you got older, you grew more of an appreciation for it.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that Phantom Menace
It's the
still
opposite.
had it. It's like you figured as you get older and you can understand what's happening more, you'd get more into it.
I think...
but it's because it's so confusing even for adults to understand.
It is very confusing still, and it's very boring still. Time is why it's slightly above Attack of the Clones for me.
Mm-hmm. Because
as I grew older, the last time I watched it, I was like, hey, they're on like real sets. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
That's like all it really is.
At that point you just grow an appreciation for the movie.
Yeah.
And not the movie.
The movie, exactly.
Yeah. It's like not the story, it's like how they shot them.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like, I love it because it's all real for the most part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like real people.
It's crazy.
Then number one, if you have been keeping track of the other 9 movies.
Yeah.
Empire was not mentioned because it is number 1 for me.
And for me as well.
Yes. Just a good movie. Great action. A great building movie to the third one.
Yes.
You really build up the tension. It's one of the biggest plot twists in like movie history. It was just great.
Speaking of tension, I'll try to hit on a slightly different point than what we did in like our review of it. Check out our throwback review of it. Our original ranking. Tension. Mm-hmm. The build-up of Luke and Vader over the course of this movie is insane. Like, the last time you saw him, he killed his mentor. Mm-hmm. And then, and new father figure, And then the build-up of this movie of, like, seeing visions of him in the cave and all this kind of stuff. When they finally are about to fight in that Cloud City room, where it's dark and it's foggy, that's so intense.
It is.
It's so cool. Mm-hmm. And then Luke just gets his ass kicked.
Loses his hand, falls millions of feet.
Yeah.
I just think it was great, like, the way it ended, it's like, okay, here we go for the next one, you know what I mean? And like you're actually waiting, you're ready for the next one, like Han is frozen, Luke is in despair, like, what's gonna happen? Whereas now with Last Jedi, for me, I was kind of like, okay,
well, that's the thing, it's like,
the next one.
I think Last Jedi should feel that way, because there's like 9 people left in the Resistance. Yeah. But for some reason,
I just don't care.
It just doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, it's like this one, it's like, oh my God.
Empire, same story, where it's like, wow, they are at their lowest point.
Yeah, literally. Like
where can they go from here?
Han is gone, Luke is in despair, Leia is trying to figure out what to do, they're trying to get the rebellion back up and running after the defeat in Hoth and everything. Yeah. So it's like, where do they go? Here, literally the same exact thing.
But they all smile at the end and they speed off, so like...
Exactly, it's like, okay, they're confident. Yeah, I think that's the difference.
Yeah, it was like the ending just doesn't feel the same, even though it's very similar circumstances.
Yeah, if anything, it ended on like.
If anything, it's like worse.
Yeah, it's like
Last Jedi. Like the stakes should feel worse because there's like maybe that's the problem because it's just like there's no Resistance members left, and the First Order rules the galaxy apparently. So it's like, it's just like
It's one of those things where it's like the odds are literally against them.
Right.
And it's so against them that I'm just like, they'll figure it out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's so against them that like my prediction is there's a time jump.
Yeah. There has to be. There has to be some sort of a building year.
Like they're like
it's like they just lost their MVPs and now it's a rebuilding season for them. Like that's what it is.
Yeah, like what the New York Jets have been doing for the last 5 years.
It's just a rebuilding season, guys. Don't worry about it.
So yeah, let us know your rankings in the comments below. Tell us how wrong we are.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
there's been a few people doing that lately.
Yeah, and yeah, with like 10 movies, like obviously the rankings are gonna be pretty different. So yeah, let us know what you think.
Yeah, definitely stay tuned because this list will update as more.
Right.
So yeah, once again, I'm Brooks.
I'm Joe.
And this has been another episode of Cantina Reviews.